What I want to do firstly, I just thought I'd talk about the why as to why we've decided to go along the virtual webinar option, and really it was really based on feedback that we've received, as you may recall, the last few years with our game plan development day. We've ran that face to face, generally on a weekend. And we just found it difficult to actually find venues that was not clashing with other events in and around the region. Plus, you add in if it's a nice enough day with the sun out, and obviously the beach is beckoning. So we just thought we want to come to you virtually and use this format in order to deliver hopefully some information on a number of fronts, but particularly on the club development side of things. I look forward to presenting to each and every one of you, regarding all things club development, a little bit about myself as well. So you can see there with the table of contents. I'll probably perhaps just work through that at the moment. But before we get stuck into that, just a heads up, there'll be some QR codes which will, when we get into some key resources and some programs with the slides, that you may be interested in having your phones ready to capture that information, and potentially just say that to your favourites as well. This particular presentation should go for absolute maximum of 45 minutes. I hope you enjoy it. So really just the introduction or my role. I thought I'd just take it back a couple of stages just in terms of my background. I've worked in football and netball clubs, both playing and certainly from an administration side of things for over 25 years, and got a passion for the game, both football and netball, and I've really enjoyed post football playing. That is, enjoyed being on committees and executives. My career wise, I've worked at Bendigo Bank for over 30 years, and based on that, I able to sort of, in terms of the financial aspect of clubs, I certainly, that would be, as far as skill set, that certainly is something that I'm fairly passionate about. And really what I love about my job is being able to share my experiences, having been in clubland, in shaping strong and sustainable environments at clubs I support. And I mean, ultimately, my motto is, working harder, not smarter. And hopefully with some of the initiatives and discussion points we have today, that you'll see some ways that we can be perhaps a bit more efficient at our clubs. So you can see the table of contents there. Introduction was my role. I've been with AFL Barwon for a shade over 12 months. We're going to talk a bit about grant and funding opportunities. Importantly, cover off the volunteer piece. As we all know, out there in clubland, we're all volunteers, and often, some clubs tend to struggle in recruiting, and it's important to come up with some initiatives around recruiting, which I'll talk to a little bit later on. Really important to recognise our volunteers in a number of ways as well, which I'd also like to speak to, and a bit about succession planning. Often we don't perhaps have a lens for the future, and very, very important to get an idea of our club volunteers, and in terms of their expiry date, as far as their time around the club. It's important to have a succession plan in place in order to plan for the replacement of those volunteers. Also want to speak a bit about strategic planning, a new initiative which many of you may well have seen, which is the 2025 Club Health Check, which I was able to send out some information last week to presidents and secretaries of clubs, but I will touch on that a little bit later on. We'll just talk about some 2025 mental health education that's available for clubs, a really important aspect of our clubs to supply support in that regard. a bit about safeguarding as well, where our clubs are at the moment, and what we, I'll just admit, a little bit, child safeguarding, and certainly some information regarding where we're at, and some requirements that we require as far as AFL Bowen is concerned. And lastly, the Women and Girls community football charter. I'm going to would like to touch on that as well, to just talk to that and some of the benefits about signing up to the Women and Girls football charter as well. So I look forward to presenting that piece as well. Just on to the next slide there. You'll see that photo there. That was the Freeze MND slide on a cold June day last year. I was dressed up as the one and only Donald Trump. I was maskless at that stage. I'd gone into the drink, but I've never been so cold. But gee, it was absolutely worth raising money for a cause that is very close to my heart. So really, just for me, my role, for those who I haven't had the privilege of meeting, I support 51 clubs in and across leagues, including junior only clubs. I think of Geelong Football Netball League, Ballerine Football Netball League, the Geelong District, and the Colac District Football League, and also our junior clubs as well that play under those structures as well. My role is very diverse, but can be summarised on the following there. A connector between clubs and leagues, and certainly look forward to, a lot of clubs are really practice best practice in a lot of different areas of their club. And one thing I really do enjoy is having the ability to be able to go around to clubs and identify certain clubs that are really strong in areas, and hopefully share those experiences with other clubs as well. So that's where that connector piece comes into it. Importantly, the maximising of grants and funding opportunities. And I don't need to tell you that this is revenue streams are really important, and the maximising grants and funding opportunities plays a large part in how our clubs operate naturally to keep things ticking over. One thing I do enjoy is providing support on existing and future committee structures. I know there's a lot of different structures that are in play around the leagues that I support, and that's all well and good. But one thing that I have enjoyed is getting a bit of an idea of perhaps the committee structure in place, and maybe offering some suggestions on how working with that working smarter, not harder mantra. Certainly looking at maybe coming up ways to perhaps reduce volunteer fatigue, which can be a real thing, and spreading the load a little bit more. So I've got some great ideas on future committee structures if you wanted to go down that path, if you felt you needed some information or expertise in that. The one there is talking about equipping clubs with tools and resources to support their strategic goals. So again, in a future slide there, I'll be talking to that regarding strategic plans and things like that. I'm also wanting to do a bit of a tutorial on AFL Club Help, which is a wonderful platform to be able to help you along within your respective roles within your clubs to assist in need. And probably just the last thing there, through my role, I do get the ability and enjoy coordinating programs and delivered by AFL Victoria. So that's that could be Women and Girls Charter that I'll speak to a little bit later on, the inclusive clubs, and even football coaching courses as well, just to name a few that I get involved with delivering locally. Thanks, Sean. So just with the grants, etc., I've just put up a little slide there to talk about just a couple of key points there. And naturally the grants come in a lot of different shapes and forms, and we do have AFL Victoria grants that are available From time to time, we have local LGA, local government authorities, being the City of Greater Geelong and other shires in and around the Geelong region, and also state and federal funding as well. So I get involved with a lot of this. I really enjoy getting the opportunity to speak to certainly our local LGAs. I do this fairly regularly, and I ensure that information that's gathered from those meetings is definitely provided to our clubs, and I provide that generally by the Barwon Bulletin. So for those that are online this evening, please ensure that you're reading the Barwon Bulletin, and if you're not sure regarding what that means, as Sean mentioned earlier, we can certainly put you up onto the distribution list, just by perhaps sending myself an email, or Sean for that matter, and we'll make sure that you get the most up-to-date information delivered through our Barwon Bulletin. So just with things to consider there, look, I've just summarised it by the considerations, the preparation, the submitting the application, and post lodgement. So probably one of the fundamental issues that I see with clubs applying for grants is they're not eligible for it. So probably a really important starting point is to make sure your club is eligible for that particular grant. Just read the terms and conditions associated with that. Again, another consideration: just make sure that you're across the key dates. Preparation is key, rather than rushing your proposal or your submission. Make sure you're across that as well. And if we talk about preparation, clearly define the project and the benefits for the local community. I really suggest that you be curious. Contact the grant provider if you require clarity on any aspect of the grant criteria. A really important one there. Letters of support from relevant groups or stakeholders will also benefit from your from any grant. Now, I often get requests from clubs to provide a letter of support on behalf of the governing body, which is AFL Barwon. So again, if you feel from a facilities infrastructure standpoint at your respective clubs, a letter of support from the governing body is generally adds a little bit of input into your applications, and as to the why, AFL Barwon perhaps would see that the benefit in you securing that funding for your infrastructure, etc., etc. Again, another thing, just with your submitting your grant applications, is just make sure you gather data. It might be geographical data or statistics or evidence to support your application. We know a lot of the council-owned facilities in and around or shires in and around Geelong and or the Geelong region is multifaceted in terms of co-tenants, etc., and a lot of sporting codes. So, cricket, whether that be cricket, hockey or things like that. So just make sure that you've got some data that the grant application not only covers football and netball, but certainly a wide range of clubs that use those facilities as well. Another one there is collect all your relevant supporting documentation. So supporting documentation. So that might be your quotes or your budgets, your insurance documents, if that's applicable. It's important to note that you must ensure the application is within the word count collection. Often you've got a specific amount of words as far as your submission's concerned, and the important thing is, perhaps don't ramble on so much. Just get succinct and to the point. I think that's a really important observation that I've seen over the years, rather than telling war and peace, so to speak. And just with the submitting of the application, ensure the application has been reviewed and signed off by the club committee, just to ensure some transparency there. Perhaps important piece is to speak about this at your committees, etc. Just to ensure that they're aware of what you're doing, and can perhaps critique the application as well. And probably a really important one there is, in the event that your grant or your funding application is unsuccessful, can I just suggest that you make contact with the grant provider to inquire as to the why behind the decision? I think this is a really important one. sometimes we accept the adjudicator's decision on this, but it's really important. And I know for a fact that some of the state and local government communications regarding unsuccessful grants don't have any real explanation as to the why. So really encourage our clubs, if unfortunately you do get a negative answer on your application, that you do question it regarding the why as well. I'm just going to talk about the Telstra Footy Country Grants, which is probably from an AFL Vic standpoint. You'll see that on your screens now. We're into stage 2 of the grants for this year. They started early this year, so stage 2 has been rolled out. So round 2, I should say. So look, just to consider, I've just provided a couple of examples there, whereby you can apply for some funding. It's a quite a straightforward process there. Again, there'll be some information that I'll provide a little bit later on in terms of how you go about it. But for the interim, if you've just wanted to Google Telstra Footy Country Grants, there's a whole wealth of information available as to what the criteria is around it as well. Probably just some perspective about it. I think Telstra's it's an $8 million boost over 4 years that they're providing grants for. So I think it was 2 million was granted last year and distributed. Looking at doing that again. But I must say, look, the if you think about it, it's an Australia-wide initiative. So naturally, a lot of clubs are getting involved. So AFL Bowen's piece of the pie is naturally nowhere near that 2 million. It's quite a deal less. But again, just to remember that whoever does your grants there at Clubland, no doubt they'll be aware of it. I've advertised this hopefully fairly extensively in the Bowen Bulletin, but the round 2 did open up on Monday the 3rd, and that'll take us all the way to the Monday the 3rd of February, and that'll take us all the way to Thursday the 3rd of April. So make sure you're across that as well. Again, your club treasurer may well be, but it's just something to make note of it as well. And probably just the last couple of points on the grants. The Toyota Good for Footy program or raffle is been a terrific income earner for a number of our clubs. It generally gets rolled out in March of every year, and again that'll be advertised through the Bowen Bulletin as well. It's a beauty because tickets are $5, and all the proceeds actually go back to the club as the 100% proceeds go back to the club. So there's a number of ways to really leverage off this, and I've found clubs have been really successful with the promotional posters, and I should say that under the Telstra Good for Footy website there is a lot of marketing and promotional information that you really can get creative with. I think probably the real success story that I've been involved with more personally at my local club was a matter of just getting some promotional posters, getting a QR code put onto it, straight to Officeworks. We got the poster enlarged and or Leopold did, and put that on a banner bug with a QR code, and that was just placed in social rooms, and there was A4 laminated posters simply with a QR, and that was really just up front to enable clubs to be absolutely aware of, and the members and the players be absolutely aware of the raffle itself, and some wonderful prizes, including 3 cars are up for grabs. Another one is to incentivize it. Get the players involved. Players are competitive; they really are. So there's lots of ways to set it up where you put you ask the question to your players and put a bit of pressure on them and incentivize it by maybe 10 free tickets to the Telstra Good for Footy raffle, and all of a sudden you'll find you'll get some competitive interest there in the clubs. I think that was a real winner at my previous club with that as well. So again, there's a lot of information about that. I just really wanted to flag it that one club last year earned $50,000 in Metro Melbourne. So it can be money for jam with little or little output as far as the volunteers are concerned. And probably the last one there was the TAC Club Rewards. Again, that'll come around again in March next month. So this is again a wonderful way to really tell the story about road trauma and common causes relating to accidents. So it's something that through AFL Victoria got a partnership with TAC, and look, all you really my recommendations that my examples where under 18 boys recorded a video promoting road safety, and they identified key road trauma statistics, some common causes contributing to accidents, and they also just did a little photo collage of when they were all L plate drivers at the time, just driving to an away game as part of the dedicated TAC round, and that particular submission earned the club $5,000 just simply by having some live footage, some digital assets through social media as well, and some in-club posters as well. So, there's a number of ways to really approach this, and I know a lot of the clubs on board will have already been involved with the Toyota Good for Footy raffle and TSA Club Rewards, but all I can say there is if you want some little hints on ways to really leverage it and potentially get some more money, recommend that you perhaps give me a call or an email there. Right, thank you, Sean. If you can just move on to the next slide. Just wanted to talk a little bit about volunteers, and I touched on this a little bit earlier, particularly, again, I don't need to tell the people that are on board today, they're the heartbeat of any club. Without you or being the volunteers, simply clubs just can't they wouldn't exist. Let's be honest. I just wanted to really talk about a couple of recruiting examples. You've just got some notes there on your presentation there, but one of the real good stories out of my previous club was the previous club, we actually had a situation where there was a gated community nearby, and I know not all clubs have this luxury within their geographical area. I'm well aware of this, but I just thought that the ability to look outside your own club and perhaps spread the tentacles out in order to maybe look at getting other volunteers. And this one was we through the local newsletter and a sponsorship opportunity with one of these gated communities. It really just come to pass that there was a lot of men and women who had retired and perhaps moved into the area that really wanted to align themselves to a local football netball club, but just didn't know the how. And just through a series of meetings, the long and the short of it was there's a couple of examples. There was an ex-VFL team manager. There was an ex-accountant at this gated community. There was a couple of ladies that were really keen to get involved from a club support administration, even helping out in the canteen as well. So it just goes to show that we need to come up with new ideas to try to leverage. When we don't always have that administration or the volunteer base coming through the ranks. And look, I can let you know from experience that those people that have come on board, it's been really really rewarding getting involved with a local club and the benefits that are associated with that as well. So yeah, maybe just ask the question as well, just within outside your club, whether you've got potential volunteers that are just waiting there to be contacted as well. Probably just that retain piece again. You can see some key notes there, but consider having a volunteer coordinator. Sometimes this is not something that a lot of clubs have in play, but I've seen this work really well rather than having someone just on a Saturday asking where I need to go for certain to do their role. It'd be just good to have an idea to have a central point, being a volunteer coordinator that can oversee that process. Probably the other thing, just with that retention side of things, the regular check-ins, encourage the feedback as far as what your volunteers are seeing. Make them feel valued, and never underestimate the power of a thank you as well. Again, I'm probably reaffirming everything that you do already, but I just think it's so powerful, from a thank you perspective. And probably just keep an eye on the future. If your volunteer has indicated that this is their last year, just keep an eye on the future, and we will cover off on succession planning shortly. I've just got a few points on that you may find interesting as well. And finally, just that reward and recognition piece. Football netball clubs spend a lot of time talking about and celebrating the efforts of their players, but clubs that regularly celebrate their volunteers through things like public displays of recognition in front of the players go a long way to recognising and retaining volunteers and creating a club with great culture as well, which the byproduct can be it often leads to on-field success on the back of that. There's many things that a club can do to do that either take little or no financial investment. Consider things like the volunteer of the week, or the month, or it might even be the year, where you profile and thank a volunteer through their various platforms, whether that's website or your notice board or social media. Completely up to yourself as well. Or you might even just have a whole of club volunteer appreciation week where the volunteers roles are mostly filled by players. Sometimes that's easier said than done. I get that. But just make them feel a little bit special, and they enjoy some VIP treatment for the whole week without having to lift a finger and thank by team captains or something of similar to that as well. There's also a lot of National Volunteer Week recognition through AFL Victoria as well, and I'll be sure to post information on the Bowen Bulletin when those opportunities to recognise your volunteers come up on a broader scale as well. So I might just pause for a minute. Was there any questions in the chat there, Sean, as we're working through to the next?
No, there's no questions, Tim. Fire ahead, mate.
Yep, good. I'm just mindful of time there at 6:21, so I'll just endeavour to sort of bring this one home. I did speak about the volunteers, the succession planning piece, and I don't need to tell you, but successful clubs can come unstuck when one or more of the key drivers at your club moves on. So the ones that the people who practically do everything at your club, and then all of a sudden they're no longer involved. So again, it's really important to understand the vital roles that play a part in the current and future success of your club. And I'd really recommend that you start by making a list of those roles and the responsibilities and skills required by the roles. When making a list, ask yourself, what roles are important to the success of the club? What individuals are at risk of leaving the club in the near future? Ensure the communication lines are really kept open with some of your volunteers that are flagged that they're interested in moving on. Make sure the communication lines are open so you're not surprised when one of your particular volunteers decides that that's it for them and they're not coming back next year. Just important to, as far as the what roles, key skills are needed in the future, and what roles can the club not survive without them. And I think about, obviously the executive for one. Naturally, every club from a governance standpoint needs to needs to have the president and secretary treasurer, whatever it may well be. But what other roles can the club not survive without? And think about coordinators and things like that as well. And does the club know anyone with those skills as well? And what training or support could be provided to a new volunteer? And who is responsible for seeking to address the succession plan? I mean, that for me is really important from a planning lens. That you've got some real clear direction on that. There's a lot of position descriptions as well for a lot of the volunteers, which I plan to go over as part of my AFL Help tutorial. Again, mindful of time there. Thanks, Sean. Strategic planning. Now, some interesting stats there. Look, I must admit, when I first see only 64% of clubs that do have a strategic plan, I'm somewhat surprised, but it's certainly understanding that there is a decent amount of work to put these together, and it's a constantly evolving piece as far as our strategy changing from the 3 to 5 years. But I think ideally each club should have either have one in place or certainly consider putting one together. And I've just consolidated it under 5 main sections there, and look, a snapshot of the club. If we look at a strategic plan, we're looking at the population demographics, the membership base, the number of teams, how it looks at the moment, and then simply the mission statement. Why do we exist? What do we do? And that's I think this is paramount. Clubs should really either have a mission statement in place that needs to be reviewed from time to time, or you should maybe consider establishing a mission statement. An example of that might be that as a club we can be proud of because the way we play the game. That is as simple as that. It doesn't have to be war and peace, but certainly thought provoking as well. The vision statement, the vision statement helps the clubs articulate your aspirations. An ambitious statement about what the club wants to be to help inspire others, and prospective people associated with the club. So, and probably the other thought-provoking one there is with a vision statement is what's our club's point of difference. I mean, we've got a situation here in Geelong that we've got 4 clubs in the same postcode. It might be that one particular club has a recognised, inclusive and welcoming environment to develop women and girls program. Again, as part of our slide deck, we've got some information around the women and girls charter as well. And really, the club values they really set the tone and direction for the whole club. So it's important to involve a range of stakeholders, including club members, your committee, even parents as well, as far as those values. Really. Again, thinking through that, what's important to us? Is it our community and club engagement? Is that our point of difference? Is it to maintain a safe and positive environment with a passion for playing the game? These are just all thought provokers that I speak to there. Again, there is a strategic plan template that's located in our club help resources, which again I'm hoping to get through to very quickly. This one's an important one. I did touch on this earlier, the 2025 Club Health Check. So all presidents and secretaries, I'm hoping, received an email amongst a couple of other surveys that we're doing, which is AFL Victoria led, just regarding a club health check. Now, this is one, as you can see in your slide there, very, very, very easy to complete. Should only take you 10 or 20 minutes. And the real, again, it's very thought provoking, and it's rare that you'll as you go through the questions that you'll be able to say yes to all of them. But that's where I come into it, and there might be something specifically, just think strategic plan, where you might need some support. So there's some free text in this health check to really call out whether you need some specific assistance, whether it's your committee structure or whatever that looks like. I'm here to help. So I can support you with any areas that your club identifies that you need assistance with. So if you get the chance to complete that, that would be outstanding. It'll be an evolving piece of work over the course of the year. And I'd really like to, be in a position to help you out with that as well. Now, just with that tutorial, the AFL Club Help tutorial, I am mindful of time here, but what I would like you to do is perhaps a QR code, what the image that you see there, and it is really a dedicated resource, packed full of tools and to assist volunteers. Again, work smarter, not harder, and through that you'll see that through a lot of the headings, there's all that information that I've spoken about a little bit earlier on, that you can navigate with a couple of clicks to find out, those the position descriptions for your volunteers, information about strategic plans and planning for the future as well. Also information about volunteer retention and recruiting that I briefly spoke about earlier on. So really would recommend that you say that to your favourites, because it's, for me, it's something that I continue to refer to in my job and get great benefit out of it as well. So I won't do my tutorial at this stage, but just ask when you get a moment to QR code that and have a good look for yourself. And if perhaps your committee are not aware of it, perhaps look to share that at your next committee meeting as well. Now, an important one is the 2025 club mental health programs. And regionally, you'll be familiar with Read the Play and Tackle Your Feelings. I know a lot of clubs have had programs and facilitators come out to your club, which is a wonderful initiative, and lots of impact over a number of years in that regard. But I just wanted to mention another initiative, which it has been around for a few years now, and it's the Head of the Game, which is a free program. It's actually funded by Movember, and I'm not sure whether Sean's ever done this, but I've grown a moustache for the cause and raised money, and this is the byproduct of all this money raised, that it finds a way to fund programs such as Ahead of the Game. So you've seen there that the dot points as to what it's all about, but quite simply, we really want to empower young players, and this is football player specific, age between 12 and 18, to empower them to look after their own mental well-being, and provides the tools to deal with life's challenges and hopefully have some steps in play to deal with issues as they're developing. So we're wanting to run there's 40 programs or 40 opportunities in the Geelong region this year. So the Head of the Game team are really keen to impact Geelong and the region more broadly, including Colac. So again, QR codes there as well. All the information can be found by going into the QR code, and there's an expression of interest tab there as well that you hopefully will see some benefit. So if this is not your remit, just ensure that this information is passed on to someone within your clubland to potentially follow up. Now, child safeguarding. Look, again, I am mindful of time here, but no doubt you would have seen some information come from me regarding our child safeguarding program, and certainly from a governing body standpoint, we're really keen to ensure that our clubs are aware of what we as a governing body require you to do under the child safe standards. So in 2024, we had a subject matter expert in Sam Delamata provide some education, some child safeguarding officer education during 2024. And look, out of the 51 clubs, we had 25 clubs provide the name of their respective child safeguarding officer. Now, admittedly, through a number of reasons, we didn't have a consistent attendance at these virtual sessions that we ran during the course of 2024. But we are looking at running the course again in 25. It'll be an abridged version, but we do ask that our clubs, we've developed a lot of these minimum standards that you can see in this on this page here. And again, there was an email sent by myself on the 6th of December speaking to this, that and also a request to complete a survey as well regarding where you see your club at with your child safeguarding obligation. So can I just have just a bit of a shout out that if you haven't received that email and you require another email sent with the survey link and also with best practice as far as minimum requirements that perhaps we see through speaking with Sam Delamata and her consulting, the last thing we want to see is our clubs, unfortunately, if we think about 2021, there was a new law introduced to now enforce these standards. And really, bottom line is it means that the government have the powers to check compliance for any organisation, including sporting clubs, if in fact something was to occur around the awareness piece and trying to prevent any incidents happening. So it's probably it's definitely a big one for the Commission. It's definitely a big one as part of my remit. So ask you that you have a look at that email if you haven't had a chance to respond and implement those 5 requirements that are covered off in those dot points there you see on your screen. It would be fantastic. And there'll be some further information coming about our child safeguarding program for 25 as well. If you could watch this space on that. Thanks, Sean. Getting to the end of the presentation, I'm sorry I've gone 5 minutes over there, but we've only got a 1 or 2 slides there. And the Women and Girls Community Football Charter there, you can see some details here. Now, this is really open to all clubs, whether you have a women and girls football program or you actually aspire to have one in the future. The bottom line is that the Women and Girls Community Football Charter, it's a commitment from community football clubs to champion women and girls, guided by 4 principles or pillars, and they are, as you can see there, opportunity. Now, this is to ensure that women and girls can fully participate as players, coaches, umpires, volunteers, and administrators. If we look at the visibility piece, we're talking about women and girls are respected as leaders and role models within their clubs. The fair access or access, women and girls have safe and fair access to facilities and resources. And I know our government, certainly our local government, being the shires and the councils, are really invested in ensuring that it's an inclusive club as far as facilities as well. And lastly, investment. There's fair and equitable investment in women and girls football as well. So the steps from here, Sean, if you'd like to go to the next slide there, mate, is becoming a signatory of the charter. It involves completing a checklist and a quick wins action plan for your club, as you can see there on your slide deck. Again, information regarding that, just a matter of going into play.afl and or if you wanted to Google Women and Girls Charter, there's a range of information which, ideally in a perfect world, I could have shared this with you this evening. However, a couple of clicks on your mouse there, you'll be able to find that information along via play.afl. So I really recommend. I mean, the region and certainly AFL Victoria are heavily, and Australia for that matter, heavily invested in this, and from an equality standpoint. And I really must say, there's going to be, we talk about grants, there's going to be some real opportunity for clubs that have signed up for the charter, and this will be one of the prerequisites to earn some funding to support what you're trying to achieve with your women and girls programs, etc. So, well and truly within your best interest to consider that. I think it's a winner, no matter how we look at this. So,
hey Tim, sorry,
yes,
Sally's just got a question here.
Of course.
Regarding just with the last couple of minutes you've got here. I'm just wondering, She's just asked if there's any examples of strategic plans that you could be shared with them.
Yeah, absolutely, Sally. I've got a couple in my toolkit or kit bag or whatever you want to call it, where clubs have initiated and have followed their strategic plan to the letter. So happy to redact that as far as the club and get that information to you. I think we've got your email, particular Sally, understanding you're a new president there at St Mary's. But if not, would you mind just putting your email into the chat to enable? Although I did see you've just sent me an email. That's terrific. Sorry, disregard that. I'll put some time into that and get you an example of a strat plan. Leave that one with me. The bottom line is I'm here to help your clubs, and through either email, contact numbers, which are all found on the AFL Barwon website. Would recommend and welcome any questions that you have in anything to do with club development. So again, thanks for joining us and have a great night.